As you might be aware, Nintendo has closed down both the 3DS and Wii U eShops as of March 2023, and if you missed out on any digital purchases, then you're simply out of luck. And of course, if you prefer physical media on the Wii U, then scalpers have already jacked up the prices of most games out there. Look, the Wii U was a terrible system by all accounts, one that Nintendo set out to die pretty much as soon as it was released. But of course, just because Nintendo didn't find success with the Wii U doesn't necessarily mean that the system is bad. And by modding the system to run Homebrew, it can turn the Wii U from almost a paperweight to one that is highly desirable. One that can play almost every single Nintendo game that came before it. Not many systems can say that about themselves, certainly not the Nintendo Switch. And in today's episode, we are going to break out the Wii U, take a closer look at all the latest mods that are available for the device, and talk about why the Wii U is such a beast when it comes to modding. Now before we begin, I do want to mention a few things. First, any Nintendo Wii U can be hacked. Nintendo sneaked out the very final Wii U update just a few years ago. 5.5.6 for North America and 5.5.5 for the rest of the world. And if you are running the latest firmware, or any firmware for that matter, you can and probably should hack your Nintendo Wii U. The other thing is that in the past, modding the Wii U wasn't difficult, but it did require some hoops to jump through, and this definitely would turn some people away. I covered the Wii U about 4 years ago in 2020, and the exploit at the time was known as HaxChi. This exploit would be injected into a paid Nintendo DS Virtual Console game. Unfortunately, however, with the removal of the Wii U shop, there is simply no easy method to do this anymore if you don't already own the game. And even if you do, modding the Nintendo Wii U would require you to purchase a Virtual Console game, and something about that whole process just seems a little off to me. Even worse, however, if you manage to delete or uninstall the exploited DS Virtual Console game from your Nintendo Wii U, there was the possibility that you could brick your Nintendo Wii U, and without an appropriate NAND backup, this could be catastrophic. But the good news is, there is a more current up-to-date exploit that does not require any type of Virtual Console injection, and all that's required is an internet connection. Now, as always, if you do want to hack your Wii U, I'm not going to provide a guide in this episode because videos like that tend to get out of date pretty quickly. So instead, I recommend the step-by-step guide located at the website known as wiiu.hax.guide. This will walk you through an easy to follow guide for the most current up-to-date homebrew environment known as Aroma. Aroma is the most current up-to-date work that's based on an exploit known as fail-st. Now fail-st is a method of an exploit where it can bypass runtime signature checks on the Wii U's file system. Aroma sits on top of fail-st as the current up-to-date homebrew environment, which is also itself an iteration of a previous homebrew environment which was known as Tiramisu. Now to set up the Aroma environment, follow the guide on wiiu.hax.guide by setting up some files on your SD card. Then on the Wii U, insert the SD card, boot into the system and select the web browser. From here, go to wiiuexploit.xyz, and if you were running HaxChi previously, you'll notice now that the site has been updated to support Aroma. Now the first thing that the guide is wanting you to do is back up your NAND, and this is something that I would recommend anyone do before they attempt to install Aroma onto your Nintendo Wii U. And this is really because of something in a situation where you want to avoid any type of bricks, and if you are in a situation where you have bricked your device, then you want to have a set of files to be able to recover from. Now once you've gone through the process of installing Aroma, what you'll notice is when you boot up your Wii U, rather than the 30 to 45 seconds needed to boot into the Wii U system menu, you'll notice a very fast boot into what's known as the environment loader. This, for all intents and purposes, is a boot selector that allows you to quickly launch into the environment that you want. For example, if you want to boot into the Wii system, then you can easily select it from the environment loader. Or if you just want to boot into the Wii U system, then you just select that via the environment loader. You can even set defaults if you'd rather just auto boot into a particular environment that you use most. And the magic of Aroma is that it supports this environment loader and introduces an entire new way of launching Homebrew. You see, back in the days before Aroma, HaxChi for example, any homebrew that needed to be launched was done via the Homebrew channel. Yeah, there were forwarders and shortcuts and other things that could be used depending on the situation. But now with Aroma, the entire user experience can be enhanced with plugins that do all sorts of things. For example, many of you know that the Wii U is a region lock system. Back in the day, if I wanted to play a Japanese region disc on my North American Wii U, I would have to load a piece of Homebrew called Our Loader. Sure, it worked, but it was a pain because I would need to boot into the Wii U, then select the Homebrew channel, and then select the Our Loader piece of Homebrew. With Aroma, all I need to do is boot into the Wii U via the environment loader and simply play my game from disk without any type of hassle of running a Homebrew app. It's simply awesome, and there are many more examples of this. Another great one is the ability to pair Bluetooth controllers to the Wii U. Now this may not sound like a big deal, but once you realize that Wii U gamepads are region locked as well, you quickly start to learn the value of what Aroma can bring to the table. But not only this, you can pair Nintendo Switch Pro controllers, Joy-Cons, Xbox One and S and X controllers, DualShock 3, DualShock 4, and even a DualSense controller on the PS5. Now let me show you how I easily paired my DualSense controller to my Wii U. Simply press the sync button on the Wii U, and then to resync your PlayStation DualSense controller, hold down the PlayStation and the create button at the same time, hold them down for a few seconds, and as you can see, the PlayStation DualSense controller is synced up to my Wii U, and I can use this as the navigation tool, and of course I can simply launch into all my Homebrew and all my applications and games just as I normally would. This is really awesome. And speaking of Homebrew, Aroma has an entirely new way of launching Homebrew directly from the Wii U menu. And these files, known as Wii U Homebrew bundles, can easily be copied onto the SD card into the apps folder. They will then just show up on the Wii U menu, complete with the icon and banner image. But this isn't just magic. Once again, there is an Aroma plugin that manages this for us, known as the Homebrew on menu. It just makes things so much cleaner and easier, especially for those who just want to launch applications directly from the menu itself. Now, I do want to mention that the legacy Homebrew launcher that a lot of people have probably familiar with for many years is not actually supported in Aroma at all. So if that is your preference into launching your Homebrew, then Aroma may not be the right option for you. But there is a solution here, because the great thing about the environmental loader is that you can boot into more than one Homebrew environment. So if you do want to fall back to using the Homebrew channel, you can simply just install Tiramisu as a second option in your environmental loader and just use that. It's truly amazing to see the Wii U get such a streamlined Homebrew environment after all these years. And the best part is that, as I mentioned from the beginning, the Wii U is such a great console for playing retro games on. Of course, most Wii U games have now made it to the Nintendo Switch, but there is still a small selection of games that probably won't ever leave the system. And of course, the Homebrew is powerful enough to run many emulators, and these include virtual console support, including the Nintendo 64, Super NES, NES, Nintendo DS, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, and the hardware of course is backward compatible with the Nintendo Wii and can also run GameCube games as well. Although the Wii U store is closed, you can still download any existing purchases, but if you're coming into the Wii U for the very first time, there are still ways to download the entire library onto your system. Preservation of Wii U games, including all DLC, has been in place for years, so really nothing of value is being lost here, even with the store closure. Now, if you are someone that does have a physical library of Wii U games and you are looking to back them up and preserve them and keep the original discs, then of course there is a way to do this with a tool known as the Wii U Disc Dumper. Once again, this is a Aroma app that sits on the menu and you simply launch it, and then what you can do is just insert the Wii U disc that you would like to back up and then simply dump it to your SD card. Now, you want to make sure obviously that you have enough space on your SD card for the file size itself, and you want to make sure obviously you have at least, I would say, a 64GB SD card. And once the entire contents of the disk has been dumped, and this may take some time depending on the file size of the game itself, and you can simply use the WAP GX2 installer to install the game that you previously dumped. It still needs to be installed either on the internal NAND of the Wii U or via external USB, and you can install via USB pretty easily. There is a upper limit of 2TB for USB external storage, and this is the way that I would recommend that you go. And it's just that extra peace of mind that if you are someone that is a physical collector and you'd rather not play your physical games, then you can simply just back them up and preserve them on your Wii U. So in conclusion, a stock Wii U is barely worth using to stop your door within 2024. But modding one with the latest Aroma environment and taking advantage of all its features that we talked about can really transform the console into something that I would put right up there with the very best to mod. If you can find a Wii U for cheap, or you have one laying around that you're not really sure what to do with, then get it modded. Add a nice 2TB external USB drive, back up your library onto, and you've got an awesome retro gaming system that can also play Wii and Wii U games. And don't forget, it also includes Breath of the Wild. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. I do recommend that you take a look at Aroma for yourselves if you are interested in learning more. I will have various links in the description below for you to check out so you can get started with that. But for now, guys, we are going to leave it here for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this episode, please don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. And once again, a big thanks to Hawk for sponsoring today's episode, and please don't forget to check out the game, link in the description below for that as well. And we will catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.